So by the time we get the news, go over there, shit, when I seen the car, shit, it was just, nigga already knew.
Police say someone shot and killed a man in a single vehicle wreck on the interstate. It happened on I-285 near the Benjamin E. Mays Drive overpass, and it was around 11:30 Saturday night. Investigators believe the victim, Rodolph Johnson, was the intended target of that gunfire. Well, they're also working to determine the circumstances surrounding that shooting. There are several reports this afternoon that the victim was a well-known Atlanta rapper, Lil Marlo. NBC News says the Fulton County Medical Examiner confirmed the death. Several in the hip-hop community have taken to social media to offer their condolences, and police were still looking for the suspect this evening.
That's a part of the streets. Some people get killed. I know that come with being in the street already. He ain't like Marlo got killed, and I was like, damn, boy, you can really get killed out here. I know this. This ain't nothing I don't know.
One Friday night, Rodolph Johnson, better known by his stage name, Lil Marlo, stepped into a music studio with his best friend, not knowing that it would be the last time doing so. For less than 24 hours later, he would be assassinated in cold blood. It was the night of July 10th, 2020, and 30-year-old Lil Marlo, also known locally as Young Rudy or Rude, went to record in a studio in Atlanta with his best friend, Miles McCollum, better known as Lil Yachty, another local rapper. The night was young, and the two friends spent hours and hours working together, recording until the early hours of Saturday morning. After their session, the two rappers went their separate ways. Hours later, on Saturday night, Lil Marlo went to a block party in the Bankhead neighborhood in Atlanta. He spent a few hours at the party before leaving in his car and heading south on I-285 highway. At around 11:30 p.m., the Atlanta Police Department responded to several calls reporting a single vehicle accident near the Benjamin E. Mays Drive overpass, just west of downtown Atlanta. As soon as they arrived on the scene, the officers discovered a car with multiple bullet holes, and they found the driver deceased inside the car due to several gunshot wounds. Shortly after, the Fulton County Medical Examiner confirmed the identity of the driver. It was Lil Marlo. As news of the highway shooting spread throughout the city, the hip-hop community mourned the tragic loss of one of Westside Atlanta's most talented up-and-coming rappers, who had already collaborated with some of the biggest names in the industry, including Gucci Mane, Young Thug, Future, and Lil Baby. A candlelight vigil was held for Lil Marlo, but disturbingly, reports emerged saying that the alleged shooter called and threatened to open fire on the people who had gathered for the memorial, causing panic among the crowd.
Excuse me, my grandma on the phone, she said they finna come shoot it up, so.
Following the tragic incident, a police investigation was immediately launched to find Lil Marlo's assailant. From what the police officers found on the scene, they determined that Lil Marlo's car had been gunned down while he was driving, after which the vehicle came to rest on the left side of the southbound lane of Interstate 285. Investigators quickly realized that the shooting was not random at all. For some reason, Lil Marlo had been specifically targeted, but they hadn't found a motive yet. Despite growing up in the Bowen Homes, one of Atlanta's most violent and dangerous neighborhoods, Lil Marlo had turned to music in hopes of escaping the gang life, and police struggled to find a reason why anyone would want to harm him. Word on the street was that the hit on Lil Marlo had been a mistake and that he was not the intended target of the hit. Allegedly, the Atlanta Police Department had revealed that Lil Marlo's close friend and fellow rapper, Lil Baby, was actually the target, and that he had a $50,000 bag on his head. The information was never confirmed, and Lil Baby immediately addressed the issue on social media and expressed his disapproval of what was being said about him, claiming that if it wasn't for his career, he wouldn't have even been on social media. A day after the hit of Lil Marlo, Lil Baby also revealed on Instagram that after receiving the tragic news, he cried for the first time in 8 years. Because no witness came forward with information and police had very little leads in the case, other possibilities were suggested by unofficial sources to explain what could have happened to Lil Marlo, according to George Chidi, a former reporter for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. It was possible that Lil Marlo's hit was a case of gang-retaliated retaliation. Before the incident, Lil Marlo's brother had been accused of an assassination in Brookhaven, Georgia, but the prosecutors were forced to drop the case mid-trial, which is extremely unusual. Normally, if a case is dismissed, it happens before it actually goes to trial. But in this case, because the two key witnesses that were going to testify against Lil Marlo's brother mysteriously disappeared, the judge dismissed the case, and Lil Marlo's brother was never convicted. The prosecutor believed that the two witnesses fled to California to avoid having to testify and get involved in the case, but this information was never officially confirmed. The fact that Lil Marlo's brother was able to walk away with no consequences from a case in which he was almost surely going to be convicted of a gang-retaliated hit and put away for life opens up the possibility that Lil Marlo's hit could have been retaliation for his brother not going to prison. While this is a possibility, at this point, it's just speculation.
It would be a hell of a coincidence, if nothing else. There was a lot going on with the Lil Marlo thing. Lil Marlo's brother was accused of a murder in Brookhaven, and that murder case went bad. And by went bad, I mean prosecutors had to drop the case mid-trial, which never ever happens. Like the judge said, you're done. Case dismissed. You're free to go. To two guys that they believed they had enough evidence to convict. The problem is, their two witnesses disappeared on them.
Another complex theory that surfaced following the death of Lil Marlo is that the hit was carried out by a fellow rapper as a result of a gang-related conflict between rival groups 4L and PFK. While 4L has ties to some of Atlanta's biggest rappers, including Young Nudy, 21 Savage, and Baby Drill, PFK had ties with Lil Marlo and other local rappers. These two gangs had been in conflict with each other for several years, and allegedly, Lil Marlo was accused of ordering the killing of several members of opposing gangs, which immediately made him a target. There was never any official evidence to support this, but according to the theory, 4L member Baby Drill carried out the hit of Lil Marlo in response to Marlo supposedly putting money on 21 Savage and Young Nudy's head. Although there was no solid evidence linking Baby Drill to Lil Marlo's passing, because of his previous involvement in gang-related activity, Baby Drill was one of the only people brought in for interrogation following the hit of Lil Marlo. Police suspected that he either had something to do with Lil Marlo's hit or that he had information on who had shot him, but eventually they had to let him go due to a lack of evidence.
I know there were some rumors, people trying to say that he had something to do with Marlo, Lil Baby's affiliate. There's no details on that as well. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing saying that he had anything to do with that case.
It wasn't until 2 years later that Baby Drill once again became a suspect in the hit of Lil Marlo. In 2022, he and rapper Young Nudy released a song together called Duntstain, in which Baby Drill sings the line, "Learned how to use that pistol, caught my first when I was 18. Although this was by no means a confession that would hold up in court, many people thought that the lyrics made reference to the hit on Lil Marlo, given that it happened in the same year that Baby Drill turned 18. Even if it wasn't an admission of guilt, the lyrics were still extremely provocative, and in June 2023, he did it again. In his song, Send Deposit, Baby Drill gives a bold shout out to Quality Control Music, the label that had signed rappers like Lil Baby, Lil Marlo, and Lil Yachty, by saying, next time you buy your artist a whip, make sure that shit's bulletproof. This wasn't the only time that Baby Drill used his music to allude to crimes that he had been suspected of committing. In April of 2022, a man named Grady Scott was assassinated in downtown Atlanta. And although Baby Drill was arrested and became the prime suspect after police charged him for allegedly being in possession of a firearm at the scene of the crime, there was not enough concrete evidence to convict him, and he was eventually granted bail. He made reference to the incident in his song, Slight Dub, which was also released in 2023. Another unsolved crime that Baby Drill was suspected of committing was the hit on Hardbody Daffy, a local rapper that was gunned down in 2022. Although Baby Drill was not arrested for it, he was a suspect. And in an unreleased song named Try Again, He raps the line, "Shot his ass, ass Daffy." Despite Baby Drill's suspected involvement in these hits, there was simply not enough concrete evidence to suggest that he had something to do with Lil Marlo's passing, and the case remains unsolved to this day. The senseless loss of one of Atlanta's most promising, up-and-coming rappers shook the hip-hop community to its core, especially since Lil Marlo had expressed a desire to leave the gang life behind, turning to rap relatively late in life to avoid getting caught up in the streets of Atlanta. Lil Marlo had everything he needed to succeed as a rapper: a unique voice, solid connections and friendships in the music industry, and a passion for authentically portraying what life was like in Atlanta's roughest neighborhoods. Sadly, he couldn't make it out of the gang life in time to make a successful career. In the words of Jacoby Hudson, a longtime friend and Atlanta defense lawyer, "It's heartbreaking because I told Rudy it would end like this if he didn't change the people he was around. He didn't let the music save him. He still wanted to be in the neighborhood. He cared about people and he took care of people. He loved too many people. And his loyalty is probably what got him killed." Although he was taken too soon, Lil Marlo will forever be remembered as a unique rapper that cared deeply for his community. He left behind his parents, his girlfriend, and his 2 sons, all of whom have continued to keep Marlo's legacy alive. Lil Marlo's father has continued to seek justice for his son, and hopefully new evidence related to the case will surface in the near future so that justice can be made in Lil Marlo's name. Until then, rest in peace, Lil Marlo.